Well, the cost effectiveness is really a key here, isn't it? Because these drones cost so little compared to the anti-missile technology. You can create so many of them and swarm a defence and overwhelm it.
Shahed drones have been reported to cost between $20,000 and $50,000. If you look at the cost of Patriot missiles, which are order of magnitude higher than that, even if you are able to detect and track those Shahed drones using traditional means, which often is not very effective, you'll be quickly running out of your defenses. And indeed, we've been seeing some of the countries in the Middle East saying that they can only sustain this kind of defense rate using their traditional Patriot-style air defenses for not much longer.
Now, this has been a lesson very obvious from Ukraine, and very quickly it became obvious. Now we're seeing it here. Even the Americans have copied the Shahed drone and are using it against Iran, which is quite ironic. Has our government learned the lessons, and more importantly, has it applied them?
In Australia, we have the benefit of distance, of course. So it is somewhat unlikely that we'll have a near neighbor. In fact, we don't really have any near neighbors in a sense of how Iran does, apart from New Zealand, perhaps. But layered airspace protection is critical because, as we've seen, for example, in Europe, you can have drone attacks, small drones, being launched locally and then attacking facilities, like with European closure of airports and harassment of drones flying over the defense bases. So in my mind, in Australia, this is more of a threat for us to ensure that we have air bases that have F-35s and other very expensive assets, that they're protected against small drones essentially breaching more traditional defenses.
But of course, if we deploy troops overseas, they will need to know about countermeasures against drone attacks. What is it that our armed forces need, do you think, that we haven't got already?
In Australia, we have Land 156, which has recently been launched, which is protection of the Australian domestic bases, but also forward deployments. And DroneShield is on a panel, and we're actually quite excited to see the initial deployments under the program. So there have been some portable equipment that has been acquired, and that's been initially in smaller quantities and hopefully more to come, but also now moving to larger deployments that I hope will commence before the end of this year.
Drones are incredible, aren't they? I mean, in a sense, they've given smaller or weaker nations a better chance of inflicting damage on a stronger one, doesn't it? Because of the low cost of them for a start. And we've seen Ukraine punching above its weight against Russia. Is that how you see it too, that a very small force now can inflict significant damage on a more sophisticated one simply through drones?
It is certainly a much cheaper way of doing warfare. It is an instrument for a smaller nation, but let's not forget, in the Ukraine-Russia conflict, Russia now uses drones to attack various Ukrainian targets with a great degree of effectiveness as well. And yes, its ability for somebody to indiscriminately often attack a large number of targets. These things are cheaper. They're not always as precise as the more expensive instruments like missiles. But if your goal is to have a wide-ranging set of attacks, those, as I was saying, $20,000 to $50,000 threats, they're not expensive. And drones are highly modular. You can put the payload that suits the mission. You can rapidly innovate and get through a lot of more traditional layers of defenses. If you think about Dubai, I'm pretty sure that the government there would not have anticipated even a month ago that a Shahed drone attack is possible. And I think it really sent a signal to a lot of governments that drone warfare is not something that's even limited to Russia, Ukraine, but is really how any future conflict would be fought. And for us, in fact, we're seeing this even in situations like in South America, where in countries like Mexico and Colombia, you have criminal gangs, narco cartels attacking governments, the facilities, the civilians, using drones like what we're seeing now in Iran.
Oleg Vornik, thank you so much indeed for your time.
Pleasure.